Hello everyone. I think my most used lights are possibly headlamps. Okay, that's not true. Muse are probably more useful in this household. The reason being is I have Muse that I use every single night for ceiling bounce when I go to bed. They're my night light, and I have Muse scattered almost all around the house. My tactical light is my most go-to tactical light, a Skylumen Wind, has a 12 LED Mio light engine in it. A Mio is basically a light without any optics or reflector to produce a flat wall light with no artifacts, similar to the sun or a household light bulb. And I find obviously that's the most useful beam because there's no artifacts to deter from your observation. So my most secondary useful lights is probably headlamps. These are really old used up headlamps, but I like them. They're 18650. They don't have a lot of runtime because they are 18650 versus 21700. Okay. When I really need good runtime, I use an HP30Rvn. The only issue is I lost mine probably a couple months ago and I haven't really replaced it. So I went back to these 18650 headlamps, and they're just, they're great lights. They just don't have a lot of runtime. I like this Fenix because it's relatively underdriven and it has great runtime. But I don't really like the switch user interface here. It's just not, it's not hard, but it's a little bit inconvenient when you have the light mounted on your head and you're pressing on the switch. It kind of shifts the light on your head, and it's not a deal breaker, just not something I prefer. I really like this HP30Rvn. It's very simple, has this click to turn on, click to turn off, and then you just turn this magnetic knob. I love magnetic rings. It's just, for any lights, even I really think that more manufacturers should start making more magnetic ring lights. There was a time when there were a bunch of magnetic ring lights, especially infinite variable brightness lights from Sunwayman and jet beams comes to mind. But now there just aren't that many. So it's really nice to have a light that has these control magnetic ring. Okay, this one right here is pretty bright, 3000 lumens, something like that, HP70.2, so it eats through the 18650. Even if when you have a 3500 milliamp hour battery in there, it's just chews through them really fast. So when I use this light, I actually, or the H30 with the same LED, and the H30 is driven even harder, except it has a bigger battery, but the bigger 21700, but only has one 2700. So you step up from 3500 milliamp hour to 5000 milliamp hour, and runtime increased marginally just because that light is even brighter on turbo. So it kind of balances it out in a way. So runtime is not greatly increased. On lower levels, yes, you have a substantial increase in runtime. Runtime is a big deal with headlamps, and that's probably the only light that I stress runtime. All of my other lights, I don't give a crap about runtime. All I care about is tune them, making them as bright as possible. But for headlights, keep output lower on turbo, just to tame the heat, and keep runtime as good as possible. The only other headlamp I can think of that I push to the max is probably the Max Touch LR550Rvn with SPT 90.2 and driver VNX2. That's the only headlamp, but that was a dedicated thrower headlamp. So that light deserved every single bit of performance possible that you can get out of it, because it's meant for caving. You only need turbo momentarily, but when you need to blast it, you need to see at the end of the tunnel. You need to see at the end of that cave, and for that light it makes sense. But for most other headlamps, runtime is a huge deal. You really don't want to be doing something and having to change battery. Like for this light right here, I rarely run it on turbo. I keep it on mid levels. Although I would like it to be on turbo because it's just provide an abundance of light and it's just easy to work with. But I have to actually step down brightness just so that I can do my entire durations of work without having to do a battery change. So there hasn't really been any good to anything more than a single 2700 battery, which is 5,000 milliamp hour, until I got this in today. The Fenix, I think it's HP30R. HP30R. Here is a factory HP30R. It has a remote twin 2700 battery pack, and the light does include the batteries. With every light comes with two 5,000 milliamp hour batteries. So here you have a whopping 10,000 milliamp hour power reserve. Yeah, this is, let me just start off saying this is possibly a game changer for headlamps. You have a huge amount of battery capacity here, and it's not mounted to the light, so it's not heavy on your head. You can have it on the side of your belt, so the weight is totally not felt on your head, making it very comfortable. The other cool thing is this battery pack here, being 10,000 milliamp hour, is also a power bank. So yeah, if you have one of these lights just toss in your vehicle, if your phone runs out of battery, you have a huge power reserve here, a genuine 10,000 milliamp hour battery here. You go on Amazon and you see what, like 20,000 milliamp hour battery pack for like $40. Usually it's not true. Okay, this, you know for sure you have 10,000 milliamp hour battery pack. So it's a great power bank. But let's talk about the light. I love this light. Why? Because we finally have the return of the magnetic ring. Okay, this is possibly Fenix's first attempt with a magnetic ring, and they got it right down, except for a few minor quirks that I'll talk about. All right, so it has two floodlights, okay? XPG3 5000 Kelvin. The center light is an XP50.2 6500 Kelvin. So cool white, neutral white. I am not sure why they did that. It would be nice if they matched the temperature across. So it would be nice if this is 5000 Kelvin and 5000 Kelvin on the sides too, but they didn't. It's okay, it's not a big deal. I think they want the extra punch with the throw, maybe, okay? The user interface is extremely simple. Right here, you turn this knob, and then there's also a switch in the middle, okay? So let me see if I can angle the camera so I can better show you guys the user interface. All right, here we go. Let's see if that puts it into focus. All right, so the switch here, if you turn it away from you, you have, see, that's one thing I hate about this switch. I'll talk about it in a bit, but 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 throw level, okay? And then you back it off to ramp down and then to off, right? And then if you turn it back, you will have 1, 2, 3. So just 3 flood level and 4 throw level, okay? And at any point, if you press this middle button, the center light turns on, but it only turns on at level 3, not turbo, okay? If you turn this on turbo and you press this, you get 4 turbo floods. Kind of a weird decision. I'm not sure why. So turbo floods, but only 3rd level throw. If you want all turbo, you have to turn it all the way here to max throw turbo, and then if you press that, you have flood turbo. In my opinion, I think most people would, for me anyway, I would operate this light mostly in floods. Just the floods. I don't even care about the throw, okay? And then when I really need the throw, I just press this and I have that extra punch. Unless I really, really need all of the power, I would turn it to the front and then you have that extra burst in turbo. But otherwise, yeah, that's good enough. This is because you're just, why do you need that much throw out unless you need it, obviously. But for me anyway, most of the things that I need to see are in front of me, so I would be using the floods and then press the center button and it activates the other light, which is now the throw. It doesn't make much sense to work it the other way around, which is operating the light in throw and then press this button for the extra flood. It looks impressive here, but in practice outside, the extra flood is not that big of a deal. It doesn't really reach anything other than what's up close, so it's kind of lost, okay, from what you are observing. So it doesn't really make sense to operate throw and then press this button for flood, okay? But it does make a huge difference when you turn this knob here for flood and then press this for throw. So my biggest gripe is three things. First, why the hell did they put only this really nice gripping material here, the silicone grip, only on this short sections, half of the width, not even half, like a third of the width of the band. They didn't put it on this side of the band or the back side. See, it starts right here and it goes here. So I guess this part is nice because it's on your forehead and a little bit on your side, but it's not the entire width of the band. Why, Fenix? Why? Why did they cheap out? I don't understand, okay? So half of your head will be grippy, the other half is not. First gripe. The second gripe is this really, not really, but relatively stiff detent. So let's say I'm trying to ramp it up a level, I would have to have pretty good control. Otherwise, because it's a stiff detent, when I put enough force in to overcome the detent, it might turn more than one level, right? So if I just turn one level and let go, it works really fine, like so, okay? But if I try to turn it just one level by spinning it past the first detent, it skips like 2 detent because I have too much momentum or too much potential energy built up. So when that potential energy is overcame, it just rotates way more than I wanted. So it's a kind of a game of practice, and it's even more tricky when the light is on your head. So let me demonstrate. So let's say I have this light on my head. The battery pack has a longer wire to attach to your belt. I didn't have that attached. Okay. I'm gonna try to turn it to the next level. And see, there we go. It skips 2 levels, so it's not consistent. See, I only wanted to turn it on, but I ended up turning it to the second level because the detent is stiff enough that when you break the detent, you just have too much potential energy. So, yeah, it's just, all right. The factory tint. As you would expect, I don't know if you can see this. I'm gonna have to make a separate video, outdoor separate video, so it'll better show the tint. But for now, let's just so that we can see. This is 6500 Kelvin. It's really nice. The only issue is there's a hint of purple. And when it's fine on a flashlight, but on a headlight, when you have that really sharp, cool white tint of purple, it kind of destroys your visions with extensive use, okay? On the other hand, the neutral 5000 Kelvin XPG3 here is decent. It has a hint of purple again, just a tiny hint, but it's there. It has a tiny hint of purple and pink. It's good. It's just not excellent. It's good. Just like the throw, 6500 Kelvin is good, but it's not excellent. All right. So, I remember I said I had 3 gripes, and I can't remember the third one. Damn it! It's not the tint. It's something else. Okay, if I remember it, I'll bring it up. But for now, I can't think of it. All right. So the headband and the switch is definitely 2 that really bugs me. All right. All right. Here we have another HP30Rvn. Finally, a modded version, and this is, I would say, this is how I would personally set up mine. Okay. I upgraded the side LEDs to the brand new to Skylumen 519 I don't remember the model number, but it's a 4500 Kelvin LED. And whew, nice. I would say that it's similar to 219B 90 CRI LEDs, but I don't know. I think it's a little better, okay? I don't know how it's a little better, but it's very nice, very pleasant to the eyes. It's possibly because it has a little bit less rosy tint, which people love, okay? I don't. I prefer it with less of that pink. And this just has a really nice daylight, true daylight tint to my eyes. We have a big, huge reflector here. It's a waste if we don't make it throw more. So I use a 5000 Kelvin LED and I shave the dome. So you get improved throw, and you relatively have across the range 4500 to 5000 Kelvin range. So it's better suited match than the factory light with 6500 Kelvin and 5000 Kelvin LEDs, floods. Now here you have relatively across the board 5000, roughly 5000 Kelvin tint. And it's a nice neutral light all around, and you have that extra punch with the HP50.2 SDCE for shave dome, basically. So for more throw, you have a tighter hotspot, and to me, the tint is worlds better than the 6500 Kelvin with the HD LED on. You probably, actually, I will make another, like I said, I'll make another separate video where I bring this light outside and then we can do a night beam shot, and it's just gonna be better with, so you can see vegetations and everything. Here, it's just not an ideal environment for beam shots. There's one additional mod that I have to make to this light for my personal preference, okay? I remove the detent from this Rotary knob. And it's smooth, it's buttery, it's just, okay, here we go. Let's see, let's bring this in. Okay, so, remember this light here, if you wanna go full turbo, you turn it all the way far forward and all the way back, and it's stiff detent. Okay, now we can, look at this. Oh, turbo. See, so it's in a way, it's like instant turbo or instant or instant throw turbo, instant flood turbo, smoothly, seamlessly. Look at this. Instant flood turbo, instant throw turbo. And look at that. And it's just the operation. Oh my God, it's so smooth. Look at that. Look at that. And it's really not that hard to turn off. See? You would think that without the detent, it's hard to turn off. It's not. See? There you go. It's just, I don't know, I love it. It perfected the light for my use. And now, with the light being on my head. Okay, check this out. So, with the light on my head, because of it being very, let me angle the light down. So with the light being on my head and the stiff detent, it doesn't shift, the light doesn't shift around or wants to be pushed forward because of the stiff detent. I can easily and precisely choose what I want. Oh, look at that. Woo, so smooth, okay? And if necessary, I could add a tiny bit more resistance to the knob to make it even more precise. But as is, I love it. I don't think I'm gonna add more resistance. However, I possibly might provide an options for people who are worried about it being too smooth, okay? And they want just a tad more resistance, but without the detent. And this is just, oh, look at that. It's just really nice. And instant turbo, instant flood, just really smooth without it being shifted around on your head. And obviously, there's still that side button, so you still have to press on it to turn on the secondary light. See? So it will still shift on your head, but at least the rotary dial is smooth and seamless for me. yes, I know that is possibly not a mod that everybody would want, okay? Some might just likes the D10, and that's fine. You save some money, because I'm gonna charge you to remove the D10, all right? Not a lot, probably like $5 or something, but yeah, for me, it's a must. So, last thing. I like this light so much that I am actually thinking about adding 2 to my personal collection. This right here is the 4500 lumen, 4500 Kelvin 519A, okay? I think on my second light, I'm gonna use extremely warm LED so I can use indoor and in the bedroom, or to read a book or to do something, but I would like to have a warmer tint so I can use in a tent, up close, in a car or something like that. For very specific use of mine that I have, that I want a really warmer tint. I think I'm gonna build it with side 519A, 2700 Kelvin, and I'm really excited to see how that turns out. For the throw here, I'm gonna start with 52 HP 50.2, 4000 Kelvin with the shaved dome. That way, it just steps it down to maybe 3500 Kelvin. So 3500 Kelvin throw. Whew. And I know that 3500 Kelvin throw, the 4000 XHP 50.2 shaved dome, the tint is just, it's not high CRI, but it's really nice, okay? It's as nice as it gets for XHP 50.2, okay? And 2700. Maybe a little warm. Maybe I'll go with the 3500 Kelvin. I'll see, all right? Maybe I'll mix and match. And the reason we can mix and match is because we have really nice frosted lens here, so the beam blend wells anyway. So we'll see. We'll see if I'll like the, I'll make a recommendation, a warm recommendation. This is definitely the daylight. Oh, this right here is definitely the daylight recommendation. But for a warmer light, yeah, I'll make a recommendation. I think that 2700 Kelvin might be a tad warm. 3500 Kelvin might be the right hot spot, sweet spot. All right, so we'll see, all right? Just for the sake of it. I don't know if it's gonna show up because we have a white wall. Let's compare the tints, all right? And then we'll call this video done because this is getting way too long. All right, so here we have, so this is the throw of the 6500 Kelvin on second level. And you can see here, this is the modded one. And you can see the beat hotspot is a lot tighter, a lot more throw, and they're on both on level 2, okay? I'm not gonna turn it any higher because if I do, it would just blow out the exposure, all right? Here, and I know this looks a little green here on camera, and it is in real life, but it's not this dramatic. It's actually very nice, especially outdoor. Not bad at all. And here, you can't really see any purple, but you can see it in real life. There's definitely a tiny hint. No hint of purple here. Between these two tints, not because I'm selling this light and I'm saying so, but this tint is better than this, all right? All right, let's try the floods, okay? And we're just gonna crank that on turbo now. Okay, the camera might not be able to grab this, but here is the Nichia, and here is the XPG3. See, to my eyes, is a huge difference when you're comparing. This is so natural, and this is so purple. It's not that purple by itself, but when compared to the Nichia, it's just really purple. Yeah, you probably can't see because the camera possibly compensate a white balance, but it's just so much nicer. I must admit, there is a noticeable output loss, okay? Yeah, it seems like it looks to be like 30–40% less bright. So yes, when you go high CRI, you lose performance. Lumen. Yep, it's definitely less bright, okay? So it's a give and take. Do you want max performance or do you want high CRI and wonderful tint? For me, for a light that's used up close, it's a no-brainer. Wow, that's a 2500 25-minute video on a subject that I'm very passionate about, headlamps. The one light I use most, and this is a game changer because of this battery pack, because of the user interface. Love this light. Highly recommended for any serious work, okay? If shit hits the fan, this is possibly one of the light that I have to have, a headlamp. And this being 10,000 milliamp hour, game changer. Have a good night.